then I went through a really difficult, just gut-wrenching period where I'm like, okay, I can't play football anymore. Like, it's over. Like, no one cares about how fast I can run or how much I can lift. I'm not a football player. For an athlete,
yeah,
and a lot of times for a musician, you find your ego in what you do. And I had my whole life planned. I had made every decision around the game. What does it look like? I made all the sacrifices. I felt like I worked really hard and I deserved to be in a certain spot, but when it didn't happen, I kind of felt like, okay, I've done all that. How does that apply to me now? You know? And so I struggled. I struggled with my confidence. I say this all the time. I couldn't look at a woman in the eyes because my identity was so wrapped up in how am I playing on the field? How can I be anything for you if I'm not pro?
This is the Rich Redmond Show.
What's up, folks? Yep, your iPhone, your clock, your watch, if you still have a clock on your wall, is correct. It's time for another exciting episode of The Rich Redmond Show where we talk about all things like music, motivation, success. I've talked to authors, comedians, actors. No one cares. They want to hear about drummers. Drummers, the spice of life. And I know a lot of them. Jim McCarthy, JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com.
Hi, sir.
How are you, buddy?
Good, man.
We've been batching.
We have been batching.
We've just been batching. You know, we've been on a
and
little...
We're not bitching about it.
Well, this is a great time in human history for us because we proved to ourselves that, like everybody else in the world, we could start a podcast during COVID. It was like a little bit before COVID, but then we kind of doubled down during COVID, and we got 200 episodes under our belt. We did it, man. High fives.
Boom.
Bam.
There we go.
You got any applause on that thing?
Hold on.
All right. And we do need like Howard Stern in the early days, we need a splash cymbal and we need like a rubber chicken, I think. That'll always work. Well, listen, we're sitting on a gold mine because I know we're going to have an amazing conversation today. Today's guest, hailing from Detroit, which is a monster music city, calling Nashville home for 20 years, and recently a new Floridian calling Orlando home for the last year. He's been the drummer for the Grammy Award Winning band Little Big Town for 10 years, celebrating 10 years with them, which is a major accomplishment in this massively competitive industry. He's also worked with folks like Pharrell Williams, David Nail, Jake Owen, Keb Mo, Love and Theft, Leona Lewis, Adam Lambert, the Oak Ridge Boys. The list goes on and on. Our friend, Hubert Payne.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
What's up?
It is so good to have you here. Now, I got to tell everybody that you are such an overachiever. We've been trying to do this for a while, but I was like, are you sure you want to drive to Spring Hill? Because tonight, you are playing a headlining show in downtown Nashville with your band, Little Big Town, at the Bridgestone Arena. And we all know that traffic is no joke in Nashville now. Like going back like maybe 10 years, but it's fierce now. So thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm honored, man.
Dude, we go way back. And I tell you, look at this smile. I mean, model actor.
I'm excited, man.
Model actor.
You're like one of my heroes.
When did we meet, though? It was with Katie Armiger.
Yeah.
And it was with Aldine in the early days, I believe. And Katie was opening, and you were her drummer. And I was like, man, that guy's got fire and moxie and attitude and physicality. That's where we met. When was that?
The first thing I thought about was having to learn your parts.
Oh, my God. That's right, because we produced her.
Yeah, and I'm a nerd, so I remember I've had to figure out how to like get my left foot independence good to do splashes over a rock groove.
Oh my God.
And I still do it. All yours.
So you took that thing and then added it to your bag of tricks.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about for me. Yeah. All the time. I use it to stump and the hi-hat over I
wonder what's going on with Katie Armiger.
Yeah, I don't know. She's awesome.
And this must have been like 2006.
Yeah, early.
Right around there. Yeah. So, but you were also, that was an early gig for you. You were coming off a football career, right?
Oh, wow.
Tell us about that, because I mean, you look like an athlete. You know?
Yeah. So from Detroit, Michigan, and I was playing football at a school in Michigan, Saginaw Valley State. I went to boarding school for high school. It was all about sports. We didn't have music. So I kind of was only playing music alone in my basement.
I mean, did you have the NFL in your sights? That kind of like...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go pro and play the game. So in Michigan, the school I was at, they moved me to defense. They were like, we feel like you're a physical player and we want to use you here. And I couldn't sleep. I was having a really difficult time. And I had gained 20 pounds to try to run the football, So long story short, I ended up transferring, and I transferred to Middle Tennessee State,
MTSU.
not knowing that I was moving to Music City.
Yeah.
So
when was that?
So I played at MT 2002, 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My business partner went there, and you're about the same age. So,
yeah.
I wonder if you knew each other.
Yeah. I was all I did was lift weights and play drums and
just pounding chicken breasts.
Yeah. I was pretty locked in. But yeah, and then I ended up finishing my last few years at Maryville College in East Tennessee.
Okay. I got to ask, being that you're from Detroit.
Yep.
Lions fan?
Huge. It's the time right now, right?
I'm a Lions fan right now.
Yeah.
How can you not
What do you
be?
mean just right now?
Because Courtney and I got into watching these documentary shows, these docuseries shows about football, and they did one
on
about,
HBO?
It's not on HBO. I was thinking it might have been Amazon, but HBO's doing one as well.
Yeah.
And there's one that they did profiling the Lions. They embed a film crew in the team, and they put up like series episodes out on like timely events.
Wow.
So they embedded a team or a crew with the Lions right when Dan Campbell came on board. And my wife and I just fell in love with the guy.
Yeah.
He's such a great coach.
Yeah.
And it's like, because of him, we have watched the games and become like afar fans of the Lions. Now we're just cheering for them.
Yeah.
Because I think they're 12-1 now.
Yep.
Yeah, they're Super Bowl bound, buddy.
Yeah, I can't say I was a Dan Campbell believer in the beginning.
Right.
But what I do love about it now is they are a reflection of his spirit,
right?
Like his principles. They play.
And the funny thing is, by the time this episode comes out, I don't know when the Super Bowl is going to be. Probably February. So it's going to be, we're on the precipice of the Super Bowl at this point.
It's usually the second week of February, right?
Yeah.
Right before Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hopefully everything we're talking about here kind of projects forward, and we're speaking goodness into the universe.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them in the
Detroit.
Yeah.
Well, it's a top-down thing. A team's culture, I'm sure, starts with the coach.
Has to.
Yeah.
Well, it starts from the owner and then the general manager, I would think. Yeah. Everything starts from the top. So
you had your sights set.
Yeah.
You were doing the thing.
So I thought. Then I went through a really difficult, just gut-wrenching period where I'm like, okay, I can't play football anymore. Like, it's over. Like, no one cares about how fast I can run or how much I can lift. I'm not a football player, right?
What? This is strange. Explain.
So, for an athlete, and a lot of times for a musician, you find your ego in what you do. And I had my whole life planned. I had made every decision around the game. What does it look like? I made all the sacrifices. I felt like I worked really hard and I deserved to be in a certain spot, but when it didn't happen, I kind of felt like, okay, I've done all that. How does that apply to me now? And so I struggle. I struggle with my confidence. I say this all the time. I couldn't look at a woman in the eyes because my identity was so wrapped up in how am I playing on the field? How can I be anything for you if I'm not pro? Right.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah.
But the awesome part of that was when it came to music, there's no ego. I'm a football player.
Yeah.
So I can go to your house and just watch what you eat for breakfast because I want to learn what you're doing.
Yeah.
There's no ego. I'm a football player. I can ask Rich 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
Because
so there was total humility around your upcoming music career, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the blessing in it. I didn't really understand that at the time.
Yeah.
But when I look back, I'm like, wow, the humility at every step in my career was really the thing that separated me. Because there's a lot of people that play drums, and at a point, everyone can play a song.
But do you want to be around that person and their energy 24 hours a day?
And can they play it well?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So that, the football thing, and we'll get to it in the story, but it's really coming full circle in this season of my life.
So were you always, even though you had the aspiration and the laser focus to be a professional football player, were you also playing drums? Because your pops was a drummer.
My dad was a drummer. Yeah. He took care of us playing the drums. He's a phenomenal drummer.
Amazing. Still playing? No.
He messes around now.
Gotcha.
He's starting to come back. I got him a drum set for Christmas.
That's awesome.
For his birthday. So he's coming back. But for him, he just felt like, my son, he hates when I share this, but it's the truth. He dropped out of high school to play drums. He went back and finished, but he built his life around the drum set, right? And he took care of me and my brothers playing the drums. Even though he was a great drummer and one of the top call guys, he wanted more for me. He didn't want me to live gig to gig.
Yeah.
Because you can go on a great tour for 3 or 4 or 5 years and then it's over. And you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Tough to sustain a marriage and a family. And if you want, like I wanted babies. I wanted a bunch of kids ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he knew, and so he felt like, I know you're going to play drums, but I'm not going to put you in position to focus on that right now. So I watched him. I never had any friends that played drums when I was growing up. I played African drums in a group, but as far as drum set, I just played by myself.
You're talking like djembe?
Yeah, I played djembe. So, but when it came to drum set, it was really just in my own head.
Yeah.
Which later on I realized that's also a blessing because my pocket comes from listening to myself for 20 years before I played with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Your dad was in a recording act called The Dramatics.
Yes.
And also worked with Snoop Dogg and Dre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He lived in LA and worked with Dr. Dre in the studio, just putting down beats, singing background vocals, whatever it called for that day.
Nice.
And it was a great experience.
Now, your dad's going to go see you play tonight.
Yes.
This has he's got to be very proud.
He's very proud now.
Yeah.
He's also very proud that I have other options.
Yeah. Now, people love to hear about paradiddles and stuff. Mm-hmm. We don't talk a lot about that. Mm-hmm. What are the other options? Because you and I resonate in that sense that we know how drums fit into the big picture in life and how we can make other people happy and change lives doing it. But also in that process, there's a way for us to have our name on the marquee. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to be part of huge organizations. These groups going down the highway with their tractor trailers and the buses, and they pull up and ladies and gentlemen, and you're part of that thing, and it feels amazing. But to have our name on the marquee, and you figured that out. You're doing that.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And I have to just put a pin right here and share something with you. You probably don't even remember it, but you made me dangerous. And part of the reason why I'm like, my whole family's coming to the show tonight, and we're gonna play a headlining show at Bridgestone. But I'm like, this is an opportunity to spread how you personally helped me become dangerous.
I don't know anything about this.
This is good, though.
Wow.
This is good,
Jim. This is exciting.
This is gonna be so. When I first got Little Big Town, a lot of people were shooting me texts. Hubert, congrats, man. You called me, and I'm like, Rich called me. And you're like, man, congrats. This is an awesome opportunity. Where you're going to be, I'm going to be honest with you. The ceiling is not much higher, right? And knowing that, just keeping it 100 and real, financially, you're going to be close to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And if you don't make a decision to diversify and figure out other things that you can do to take care of your family or your life, you'll be stuck. Now, it's a tragic, tragic thing to only point at the artist to take care of you and your life at that point, because you can literally use your position to multiply what you can make.
I came out of the blue and said that?
Yes.
Wow.
You went in on me. You're like, man, and you even went through your own habits. Think about this, the perception of the opportunity you have. You can build opportunity off that.
Yeah.
You can develop your skill set. You can keep reinventing yourself. And that message, along with Little Big Town just being, the sweetest people you've ever met.
And they've had you on all their records.
They've had me on the records.
Yeah.
And to take it a step further, they saw that, number one, I have 6 kids, and they know how much I make.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just because of the money, but they've been very proactive about, Hubert, if you want to do this, we're going to help you do this. It has nothing to do with music. If I can introduce you to someone, I will. If we can put you in position, if we can represent you, if we can put in a word, if we can, put you in this room, hey, you should be thinking about this. There's been times Karen over the mic and said, Hubert Payne on the drums. He's an awesome life coach. According to who she knows who's in the room. Right?
That's awesome.
So,
she's promoting your business.
Oh, yeah.
That's
She's
awesome.
I mean, there's such sweet people. You know,
Yes.
I've been around them backstage, you know, at the skirmer horn and just various things. And they probably want to help you because you never mail it in for them.
No.
I mean, you could be sick and jet lagged, and it's like, you know what your job is, and you know what you have to do, and you do it with a smile. That smile.
That's right.
Right?
So maybe they need a podcast, and I can produce the podcast for them. And she can, when you need a podcast, call Jim.
To have them and ask them questions that will benefit people would be amazing.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from them. They are.
But was one of the requirements to be born and raised in the Boondocks?
Ouch, Jim.
What? Hold on. Sorry.
That's the same good up from Laugh USA on Sirius XM.
Because they all have these things.
I know, it's totally. But I mean, how exciting. I mean, it's like, congratulations on, 10 years. What is that? 3,650 days of playing those songs, traveling
Did you
the world.
math that like off the top of your head?
I just added a couple of zeros.
Okay.
And just never mailing it in, and just bringing your spirit and your energy to the drums. And that's really what the drums are. It's like, it's a extension of our own spirit and
Come
energy.
on. Yeah.
And I really feel like most drummers are more often than not, friendly, approachable, high energy, outgoing people. Rarely do I meet a drummer that's like, like Stephen Wright. Yeah, good to be here. You know, you know what I mean?
There are some drummers I've seen that are just like, they couldn't get hitting the space bar on their laptop. They just, it was odd.
What's that?
I went to a show. I'm not going to name names or bands or anything, but we went to a show and it's of a band that I want to play in. And he just like, the singer had to go back and help him during the show.
Oh, I mean, if all you got to do is press spacebar, we can handle that.
But like the drummer was like, just whatever, you do your thing, and I'll just sit here and wait.
Yeah, interesting.
Bad attitude.
Well, that's not that guy.
No. Drummers, I find, are octopuses. We're able to get into a lot of other things besides the drums, and maybe it's because we're so multifaceted with the instrument, and
multitasking.
I mean, I'm a drummer, and look what's everything that's in front of me here. I feel like I'm sitting at the Starship Enterprise driving thing.
Yeah, you're totally multitasking.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
One of my good buddies, my favorite musician in the world, Akil Thompson, plays with Little Big Town.
Yeah.
And he and I talk about this all the time.
That's Chester's son.
Chester Thompson's son.
And he plays keys.
He plays keys,
plays
bass,
everything.
and just keep him away from the drums because he can play very well.
I remember seeing him a lot at the Blue Bar in Midtown Nashville, going back like 15 years or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he and I, we get into all kinds of life and really deep conversations about musicianship. And we talk about the stories that musicians make up about, well, this is all I can do. This is what I do. But we are so multifaceted, to your point. Yeah. If you open that door, I had this past, maybe since I've been in Orlando, I had a job as director of sports performance. I can't even believe I'm saying that right now.
This is great. Say it again.
I was director of sports performance over a 110,000 square foot facility in Lake Nona in Orlando.
Amazing.
Huge facility. I got the job, and it was my first time really. I've had a couple other things that I've been doing since I've been in Little Big Town, but this particular job is like very corporate. I'm talking about you're going to meetings 2 and 3 times a week and looking at Q1 and revenue and making certain changes, and being in those rooms, I'm like, oh my gosh, musicians are so creative. We're so resourceful, and we don't realize that our skill set can be transferred in those rooms and just light fires every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we take this mindset of like, man, I got to sell out to the game. I call it like the tattoo on the face mentality. It's like, well, if I'm a musician, I'm really doing this. I can't be doing anything else. It's lies, man.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
Lies.
It's a limiting mindset. I've heard that too. What else am I mean, the previous episodes, guy, what else am I going to do? Dude, you're a pilot. You've got so many other skill sets.
So and And there's just so much beauty in someone who sat down for their whole life and used their imagination to create music.
Yeah.
We take it for granted. It is a beautiful gift.
I do feel like we get beat down mentally by the expectations and limitations of our industry, because if you're if you're not writing the songs and you're not the front person, sometimes there's a massive chasm between. And so people just accept their lot in life, but you roll up your sleeves and you just do some thinking. And if you're not afraid to shout from a mountaintop, I exist. And that's something that, I have gotten in trouble for, where, I've made some mistakes with social media, over promoting, but at the same time, I'm also not afraid to let people know, hey, somebody's going to get the job. Why not me? Right? You just throw your hat in the ring.
Why not me?
Throw your hat in the ring. Went to Los Angeles for 5 years at great expense. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays for 5 years, I studied TV hosting, voiceover, improv comedy, acting, and I got my SAG card in under 5 years. And there's people that have been acting for 25 years that still don't have that freaking card. And I did it in under 5 years in only 3 days a week. So it's what we do with our mind starts in the mind, right? And then the path will be revealed. You just have to have that desire to do something, and you're doing it.
Yeah. So one thing that I learned, I want to share about this experience. So I worked it's a wellness retreat facility. It's called On-Site Workshops. It's about an hour and a half outside of Nashville, and people go there and do deep healing work. It is phenomenal, man. I'm talking about people who are dealing with loss, death, people who face public shame, people who are just overworked. So it's not necessarily a 30-day intensive rehab. It's not for addiction. Right.
Okay.
It's just, I need to go get centered. And I worked there. I was hired as the only coach ever. A Karen Fairchild Connect, by the way. But I was hired as the only coach, and they brought me in and they taught me the method of how to walk people from A to B. It's fascinating work. But one thing that I took from that was the trauma piece. And I realized without trauma, right? And I define trauma as any time we can't respond from power. So if you got a situation in your life, you can't respond from power, you form a defensive posture internally with your emotions, with what you hope for. And what I hear you saying is, man, sometimes why not me? And we get stuck because we have all these defensive postures of, oh, they told me I couldn't. Maybe the way that I had to be with my parents is not really conducive to that voice that's inside of me, right? So at On-Site, I had the opportunity to see people walk through those walls, and I started realizing oh my gosh, everything is about connecting to that authentic version. And the trauma creates an environment where if you're gonna heal from it, that's gonna be the gift. If you think about it, if you lose someone, you don't have time or energy to think about anything else other than what's going to get you to healing in the other side.
Yeah.
You shut down the noise, right? But it's just, we all have different things that happen, different levels of that. But that journey of being able to connect to, this is authentically me. I'm good enough. What's for me is for me. What's not is not. We can't be competing because we all have a different fingerprint.
Yeah.
And when I learned that and then brought that back to the music, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. And this is why the drum journey was the drum journey.
Yeah.
My dad, the way he poured into me, my parents, my mom, she's amazing. This is why, right? So I can go off on a tangent on it.
So the On-Site thing, is that a franchise or it's just here in Middle Tennessee? So
they have one here. They have a location in California as well. The one here is the flagship program is the Living Center program.
Yeah.
And Music Cares does an amazing job of connecting musicians. So it is not cheap. I'll say that.
I was going to say a retreat where you go to recenter.
Yes.
This is upper income.
Yes.
that can afford this.
Yes. 5 days, all inclusive. They take your phone, but meals. But the awesome opportunity musicians have is Music Cares. They see us, and they have opportunities through Music Cares where if you're in a way, or your spouse is in a way, or a loved one, they can help you build a bridge to go there and experience that work.
Yeah.
And my hope is, because what I've done in the last few years, I started to realize, like, okay, I see a journey that helps people deal with their mental health. But then I started realizing, like, wait a minute, that's the same journey for high performance. There is no disconnect. And once you realize, oh man, the same things that are stopping me from showing up and being able to connect to my relationship are the same things that are stopping me from connecting with the instrument. I'm being robbed of being present because of what happened to me, right?
Yeah.
So I've been on this journey of like, oh my gosh, the blueprint is very similar. How can I spread that to as many people as possible?
Yeah.
And learn along the way. So that's what fires me up now.
So from studying all this,
yeah,
psychology, mental health, high performance tactics, when you sit behind the drums these days, are you treating your performance differently? Are the things that are happening in your mind differently?
Yes.
Different.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say number one thing. So if you look at trauma, that defensive posture, I got to protect myself from things that look like past things that hurt me.
Yeah.
The first thing,
and we all have that.
We all have that in different ways.
And it could be very subtle, just the way, the way our parents talked to us or treated us.
Yes. I also believe we have like versions of performance trauma. I didn't get that audition. So I'm going to protect myself from putting myself in those situations by being defensive. And I'm going to fly a little bit lower, like a diet version of myself, so I don't hurt again.
Wow.
Right? So we get robbed of the present moment. If I'm thinking about, like, I've been working on this concept. It comes from it's a therapeutic concept, but it basically says, okay, we organize that internal voice in three ways: either the parent, the adult, or the child. Right? It's called transactional analysis. If you think about it like this, and the parent voice is super concerned with the future. Don't do that. If you think about any kind of mental self-talk that's got that wagging finger. And a lot of times it comes from whoever our caretaker was or wasn't. Yeah. Right? Don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah, my dad is very
right. Yeah.
Anxious.
That's right.
About the future.
That's right. That's right. The child version, consumed with the past. Right? And you can bounce between these voices. They might be applicable in certain moments, but you want to be consumed with the adult because the adult is present. The adult pauses before he or her speaks and can make decisions based on the present moment. So if I'm playing music, grooving, which is my favorite thing, is about being present. And I learned that from Broadway, because you never know who you're going to play with. And everybody's like, oh man, I don't want to go down there. And you're going to be playing with all these guys. I'm like, man, what an opportunity to figure out how to
it stretches you.
Play with people.
Stretches you. And okay, what does the band need to groove right now? Yeah. And I'm going to become that.
So you did your time down there.
Oh yeah.
When was that?
Oh man.
After Katie Armiger?
Yeah. I've played on Broadway most of my time at Little Big Town.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
So that never bothered you to say, okay, I got a drum tech. I'm with this huge act. We got buses and catered meals. And now I'm going to schlep my drums down into Legends and play for tips.
Absolutely.
That didn't bother you.
No, because it's about skill acquisition.
All right.
Right.
Jim, this is
good stuff.
This is good stuff because a lot of folks are like, I
don't want to do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah. So for me, it goes back to the football thing. In my culture of sports, you don't make it to the NFL and stop lifting weights.
That's right.
It's triple down at that point.
Triple down, right? Drums, I love playing the drums. I love it. So I want to be the best player I can be. The gigs will be a symptom. If Little Big Town ended tomorrow,
you're still going to play the drums.
I'm going to play the drums.
Right.
I love helping people's song come to life and using the instrument. And,
Amen. Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, if people practice 8 hours a day, why do I feel like I'm excluded?
Yeah.
Like, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. That's an opportunity to play for 4 hours with people and make some money.
So getting the Little Big Town gig was you're almost like a hyper validation from the universe. Like, hey, I'm good. This happened. I achieved this thing. And now I'm going to keep working on this skill set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and even getting the gig was insane. It was insane.
So was there, people are always asking, hey, is the audition thing a thing anymore? And I'm like, doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's all relationships and guys calling their buddies.
Yes.
Right. But that was a big audition, right? It was like a cattle call.
I don't know if it was maybe a cattle call before they start bringing people in, but Seth put my name in a hat.
Gotcha.
And I was playing with David Nell, so I want to tell this story because I love Seth, and I know Seth has been on the show.
Heck yeah.
And I really want to. I love that dude.
Seth Rausch, what's up,
Seth
buddy?
Rausch,
We go way back too. And I remember first meeting him, and he was just playing with everybody, and he had his rock tee and his blazer on. I was like, just male model. I mean, the kid is just like crushing it. I'm like,
what did we say he looked like when he walked in?
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell.
Totally looks like Chris Cornell.
Getting back to what you're saying about the voice in your head.
Yeah.
You follow a lot of, I would imagine, the same people that I follow. Gary V and Cardone and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got some opinions about all those guys. Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Awkward silence.
So Bradley has said something in the past that's always resonated with me. I'm actually going to his house on Sunday. I gotta reconfigure his studio for him. He called me today, but he said, what pronoun is the voice in your head using? And I was like, is it a you or is it a me type of, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by, my birthday. No, you're not. Or no, I'm not. That I was like, ooh,
that's good.
You ever pay attention to what pronouns they use?
Yeah.
That crazy?
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
It's external or it's you.
Absolutely. And a lot of times that gets convoluted.
So what are your opinions on those guys?
Well, I'll more talk about what I feel like.
Don't forget your story about Seth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It'll transition.
Yeah.
I'm a faith-based Christian dude.
Yeah.
And one thing that I learned at Onsite that it was huge. I dove into a therapeutic model called internal family systems. And the idea is that our internal environment is different parts, it's different voices. And even when it comes to addiction, we don't have any bad parts. And if you have parts of a family that are out of control or overreacting, you don't stand up to them. They're not lacking willpower. It's not about, I'm not strong enough to say no. What if you loved yourself in the right position, right? It's not about cursing yourself down off the ledge. I feel like there's an alternate way to healing and operating from health. And I think it's based in extreme compassion, extreme curiosity, and things like that, as opposed to the finger and I can't believe you did that again. If you think about it, it doesn't work well in music either.
Right. Yeah.
And you'll groove better when it's you're breathing, which I learned from Seth. But Seth, and I preach this, man. Take responsibility for your inspiration. If anything inspires you, I don't care if it's the most small thing you're curious about. Keep going down that road, and you get to that part where you were talking about earlier, like, this is me, this is my authentic version. So I was playing with David Nell, and I loved Little Big Town. And I love, more specifically, Seth, to the point where I would listen to all his records and I'm like, man, Seth does that boom, a lot. Pontoon, boom, boom. He does that. Even when I say it, I can feel like his body motion. And so I'm like, my buddy Blaine knew him. And I said, Blaine, we're playing with Little Big Town at this festival later this month. you got to connect me with Seth. He texted him. Seth was like, yeah, we'll connect. So I meet Seth in a trailer before it was like
with the wood paneling.
Yeah, I knock on the door. He's in there hanging out. I'm like, the door opens up. He's got a light over his head. I'm like, no, like Seth Rausch. So I sit down and I proceed to ask this man probably 1,000 questions in an hour. Like, dude, what were you thinking on Tornado? Why didn't you play the hi-hat? What on Pontoon? Like, where'd that groove come from? And then I'm like, don't think I'm weird. I know you got 5 kids. How do you do it? Like, I heard that, like it's like a legend around Little Big Town. He used the runner every day to go to mass or church. And his faith was very important to him. So I was asking him, how do you integrate in all these things?
Wow. Seth's taking the runner to go to church?
Every show day. I don't know if I was supposed to share that.
Wow.
He's very disciplined. And like, I just look up to him so much.
Wow. And he had 5 kids and you're like, I'm doing 6.
Well, he's got 6 now.
Okay.
Yeah. He had another one since.
Time for 7.
Man.
Yeah. So he's kind of looking at me like, man, you really listened. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I love what you do. Your groove is like, it inspired me.
Yeah.
So he came out. I saw him watch me. He watched 2 songs, and I'm like, all right. I saw him walk off the stage. I didn't think anything of it. And a few months later, I'll say this. I asked him, I said, Seth, you're with Little Big Time. You're playing on the records. What's next for you? He's like, dude, nothing's next. I love this band. I get to play on the records. We work just enough. I'm great. He didn't know about Keith Urban. Was going to call him. Yeah. So when he got the call, he put my name in the hat for the audition.
Well, it's perfect because
that's awesome.
He loved your vibe and energy, and he also knew you knew the material.
Yeah.
You were like plug and play.
Right. That's right. So I kind of cheated in the audition. I'm like, I've been thinking about this moment. I've been watching Little Big Town and thinking, if I got that gig, this is what I would do with it. Right. And I think Karen appreciates that. And she felt my conviction. Right. Because you got all, in an audition, it's all kinds of nerves flying. But I was convicted about, this is what I got to say about if I had this opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And I got all these kids, so I need some help. Yeah.
Somebody tells me you're a great dad. I mean,
I try.
I mean, but that seems like I'm just like one child would be such a challenge.
Mm-hmm. See, I think the secret to being a great dad is thinking that you're an awful dad.
Yeah, that's where I am.
That's what I think about me.
That's where I am.
Jim, you are not an awful dad.
Well, that's it kind of keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
That I could be always doing better.
Yeah.
And, your kids will remind you if you screw up.
Absolutely.
It seems incredibly difficult to find the balance between being friendly and nurturing and loving, and at the same time being a taskmaster and letting them know that they messed up and punishing them. And it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're working in a mental health space and you sit with people and you realize your parents screwed you up. And my parents, no one's parents are perfect. And most of the time you can trace certain behavior patterns back to parents. And for me, my wife is phenomenal. She's like the one person that could navigate what we've tried to build, what we've been building. And so, and someone said this to me one time, like, Hubert, you know what you're trying to do is impossible. I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's impossible. That gives me some grace.
Yeah.
But
to be an amazing father.
Yeah.
And then to build your speaking and play the drums and all the travel associated with it. Last time I checked, it's only 24 hours in the day.
Yeah. But they drive me.
Yeah.
Like, I love playing the drums, but like my decisions are made around providing. And that's why it's important for me. And my hope is that I get more opportunities I appreciate this to speak to musicians. And it's like, we come up with these dreams when we're young. We don't really calculate, all right, so when I get married, if I want to get married, and then when I have kids, like, how am I going to do that? And still play. And I think, man, the heart position and the reasons why you do it, they have to line up. Right. And if they don't, figure out your priorities and then work from there.
Yeah.
And I want to be the one that helps people do that. Like there are a lot of dads and moms that are trying to figure out, I have this love for this music and this is what it's going to take for me to go out and do it. And I have this love for these children and my spouse. How do they both coexist? And I don't know that there's enough resources out there or people talking about that. Like I love paradiddles. I'm a nerd. I love all that. I love it. But I appreciate the opportunity.
There might be a book or a coaching program for musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see that. Now I know that you have been starting to speak. And are you, what kind of venues are hiring you and what is the angle of your talk?
So, beautiful thing about being at on-site, I can pretty much go in any direction, right? I've been dealing with a lot more football players, so I go to a lot of college football teams and speak.
They're probably, and people love music. They're enamored by music. It's like a mystical, it's like I don't want to call it like a dark art, but it's such a mystery.
Well, what is it? Musical artists want to be athletes and athletes want to be...
Always. Yeah. Every time there's athletes backstage, they're just like, oh my God, you guys are living the dream and you're filthy rich. And I'm like, you're rich.
No, you really are rich.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. One of my main messages is about transition and figuring out transferable skills. Right. That's huge for me. Because when I went through the phase I talked about where, okay, I'm not a football player, that hurt, but it's also a blessing in that. Because it's like, wait, I don't need that ball to define my ego anymore. What I learned was how to learn from people. How to be very detailed about watching someone else perform and then being able to put all those traits and characteristics in my own bag. That's what I learned. I learned about what is the actual culture of getting better.
You also, I guess, from a side, seeing you from the outside, you put a lot of emphasis on your identity being in football, but you also had the identity as being a drummer. And maybe the emphasis, the hierarchy is more priority to football in your mind.
It was.
Here's the thing, and I always talk about this with athletes, is that even my wife grew up very athletic. Her brothers did as well. I said, here's the thing about the difference between that kids like me who took the musical path versus the athletic path is that at some point, the athletic path, you just can't do it anymore.
That's right.
Your body can't
handle it.
The window closes, The musician path, you can do it into your 60s, 70s.
And the speaker path, you could do it till you drop dead with that mic in your hand.
Right.
Boom.
That's why I love it. That's why I love it. And one thing about music, and I was trying to explain this to my daughter, I'm probably being a little bit too hardcore. She's only 11 and playing flute. Her concerts are this week, and I hate that I missed them. But she's like, Dad, it's just this one piece. I'm really struggling with it. I'm like, well, babe, when's your concert? Friday. I'm like, what's today? It's Monday.
Keep practicing.
I'm like, here's the thing about music. It's a lot different from sports. In football, you can train all day and eat well and make sacrifices and play running back, and someone not blocking, you can't run through the hole, right? Music, the song is going to be 3:34. You know when it's going to happen. You have heard either the drummer who recorded it. You've heard, you can create a plan about how you want to execute it. And it's just about, are you going to be willing to sit there and be patient enough to master that performance and then do it in front of people or with people?
Yes.
You know what the song is going to be.
Yeah.
There is no guessing game.
Yeah. I mean, in football, anything can happen.
Right.
You're guessing what the play is going to be.
Right.
And then as that play is happening, you got to jib and jab the moment. It's like jazz. It's like true improvisation. Yeah. I wish I had played sports a little bit more. Like I experimented with some things. I mean, I was a pretty dang good disco roller skater.
You were a speed skater.
I was a speed skater, which is a very bougie New England thing to do. And I tried T-ball, but I just knew I just had to have those sticks in my hands. Yeah, man. They kicked the soccer ball to me. I ran the wrong way. I mean, it wasn't my thing.
Right. That's how I was.
But and I will say, if you guys feel like this podcast is that I'd hit that podcast. It's a very famous podcast, but it's always really noisy.
Yeah.
He's always set up at some restaurant or something. Jim's, this is his place of business, and he's having his Christmas party out there.
Yeah.
So people are starting to eat their sugar cookies, and they're getting all jacked up on sugar.
Yeah. Certainly not alcohol, that's for sure.
Well, no way. No way. So this is fascinating. And as you know, it's my thing, my challenge, even all these years in, as a speaker, that entire industry seems to run most effectively you're represented by a bureau. So you're with Washington Speakers Bureau, or you're with all these different little boutique bureaus, and somebody, from corporate America, they call up the agency and they're like, we need somebody in the entertainment space, or we need someone in the education space, and we'd like it to be below this dollar amount. And if you go above this dollar amount, you can get our ex saxophone playing president, but if you go down this direction, you can get a drummer, but the thing is that the whole industry is based on that. And they don't necessarily market on your behalf and go to the, get down and dirty for you. They just respond to the interest from the caller. So how do we figure out how to get more work? And for me, it's just been through human relationships.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Is that how you find you get your gigs?
Yeah. So, man, like I've spoke. I did Universal Studios in Orlando.
Big.
I spoke, and it went really well. And I traded tickets, a lot of tickets. But they called me back this past week and said, "Hey, can you come back and speak again?"
So you repeat business.
Yeah, I'm like, this is awesome.
That's great.
And I could definitely be a lot more strategic in the speaking lane.
Yeah.
But I think I was just speaking on mental health.
Yeah.
And performance, because to me it's the same thing. There's two schools of thinking. There's a lot of people who feel like if you take an athlete or a musician, you get them out of that environment, you rescue them, and then you put them in a space to just really work on their mental health. But you and I know, if the gig doesn't go well, we sit with that.
Yeah.
And the way to get me from A to B and operating from the healthy versions of myself, we got to address how I'm playing, how I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Like, what are the gaps? Like, let's deal with that. So to me, I mix high performance and mental health. So whatever it is that you do, it's two things, same thing to me.
Yeah.
High performance in relationships. Because what I found is people get broken in three ways in relationship with other people, with themselves, or their higher power. Wow. And you can put it in that box of, once we get broken, we get defensive. So if I can help people build that bridge back to being connected with that hopeful version of me, or what I hoped about you in our relationship, or my higher power, whatever that is, right? That's good work. So I just try to operate from that lens, and somebody can tell me anything. Hey, Hubert, we want our employees to be better at having difficult conversations. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring it back to that. Okay, what's your self-talk? Are you able to have difficult conversations with yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's start there.
No.
So
a lot of times, I'll have a difficult conversation with myself in the mirror, and then I go, all right, let's go have a glass of wine.
Yeah. I love
just
it.
bury my feelings, which is not the whole thing about mental health. Is we know that it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's what are the things that are going to center you? I mean, I like to get up in the morning and have a little quiet time myself, a nice dark cup of coffee. I gots to stretch. I gotta hydrate. I gotta go on a walk. I gotta read something. Gotta do something for that's gotta be difficult to because you know how they say, put yourself first so you can show up for everyone else. How do you put yourself first when you got 6 kids, man?
That's tough.
Grace.
Yeah.
So you said something. You said, I'll have this hard talk with myself, and then I'll just go to the wine.
Dang, that's public record, guys.
I think here's what's important though, because there's a lot of people that are in that cycle, and it might not be wine, it might be something else.
Sure.
I feel like we all perfectly got right where we are, right? And understanding that and throwing in a ton of grace, we're just all trying to figure out how to make it work. And if you approach yourself with grace, like, as far as what I know, that's the best way to do it.
In other words, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's right.
Like, push yourself, But if something happens where you don't get your workout in, or you don't get your me time, or something doesn't go as planned, don't be so hard on yourself.
You love it into right size, and I bet you it would go a whole lot better. And you know, especially high performers, like I would imagine the internal Rich voice on the drums is like, hey man, you gotta be more clean. You gotta really give this part the energy it needs.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that voice spills out into our relationships. And I'm gonna speak from personal experience. The voice here, my dad's a very hands-on, he was disciplinarian, very like present with me.
Mine too.
And his voice is, that critical voice is there. And it's great for developing on the drums or, you know, a skill set. It is not so great developing in relationship with the woman. Or even my kids, right?
Was he encouraging though to you?
Oh yeah. Super encouraging. Very positive dude.
Yeah. I had my brother on my podcast not too long ago, and you remember what my brother said? What lives in his head is our father telling him, if you go to music, you're going to be a garbage man.
That's tough. And that, I mean, but that your brother took that to heart.
Yeah. Yeah. But he ended up doing the path that was laid before him instead of what he felt like he could do.
Yeah.
You know, he became the attorney, he went to college, and he does that. He's okay he's happy being an attorney. He's a great attorney, but he's at the stage of life where he can move here and have leverage and give it a shot. And I've been encouraging him to do that. So hopefully he does. So
so on that point, it's never too late to step into your authenticity because it's always there. It's always there. I have my own band now. The Network's a funk band.
Yeah, tell me. So what was the inspiration to be like? You just wanted to have a creative outlet for yourself, where you could call the shots, pick the repertoire, hire the players.
You get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at a point, you realize being an amazing sideman is being an amazing waiter.
Yeah,
I'm here to serve.
We serve.
You don't want me to play the cymbal? I will not. And I'm going to smile not playing the cymbal.
That's right.
And that's the gig. That's right? The gig. It's not my gig. It's not my business. And that reflects, you know, and the, you know, it's not my band. I'm happy to be here. I will contribute as much as you'd like with my ideas or not.
Yeah.
But with my band, I got some guys together that I felt like I wanted to play with. Like, who could I just play with 2:00 in the afternoon? Who would I want to play with?
Nice.
And
that's a great way to find the guys.
Yeah.
Who would I want to play with just right now?
Right now. And what's interesting that I found, we just started getting in a room and playing. And I feel like I found my voice. Like I kind of knew who I was on the drums and what I'm not, you know, I'm working towards.
Yeah.
But creating helps you get the fingerprint, you know, like, oh, this is my sound.
Yeah.
You know, so, and
being around people that lift you up too, that stretch you.
Yeah. And it's okay. Like, I feel comfortable enough I'm going to try this, man. You know?
Yeah. It's a safe space to do that.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I'm always looking to play different music and stuff, but I've mentioned this on so many shows. The tough part is finding that front person that is not swimming in ego and confront a band, can sing, is willing to do it, you know, because this town is all about, I'm a solo artist and I've got some people in the back wearing black. Yeah, that's the mentality.
So the Network is the opposite of that.
Yes.
We literally play, horns, it's a funk band, no front person.
Oh, everybody takes turns singing?
Someone will take turns singing or we'll bring up people, but it's more movements, it's funk music. So you know, it's
so you're
energy.
doing P-Funk, you're doing James Brown, you're doing
music we create.
Oh, it's original.
It's all
original funk music.
And I'm super proud of this because we were like we did like a Whiskey Jam residency at one point, and it was like for a whole month.
Do you guys have a record out?
No, we don't. We haven't even recorded music yet. But
it's almost like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra model.
Yeah.
No lead singers.
No, I wanted to do, and it actually makes it very awkward in an entertaining way.
Yeah,
I lead the band.
You got the mic back there telling jokes in between songs and stuff?
No, because I don't like talking about it. That's weird.
Because, you give me a mic, we have a great time.
I'm more like, everybody laughs at me because I lead the band by like, woo. And we've played together so much, I was just we have like a strategic plan.
Yeah.
And it's dance music. It's about a vibe and a moment. And
Well, that needs to come back. The experience of going out on a Friday or Saturday night and waiting in a line and getting into a place, and then it's standing room only, and it's mostly dancing, and it's sweaty, and it's like the waitress is trying to come through with a martini, and she's spilling it all over the place, and everyone's just sweaty, and heck yeah,
that was the goal.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the opposite of everything else that I do. Basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, look at this. I'm looking at this track record. Were you on that Keb Mo record with Keo? That was Keo?
I didn't make the record.
But you played live.
But I've played with Keb a ton.
He lives around here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's, man, a brilliant dude.
I mean, I love that theme song to Mike and Molly.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
he's great.
Oh, God. Adam Lambert.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that?
Just stuff with Little Big Town.
So he came out and sat in?
Yeah.
Oak Ridge Boys.
Yeah.
They came out?
Opry.
Jana Kramer.
I toured with Jana for a little bit.
Really? Hunter Hayes. What happened to Hunter, man?
Man, Hunter. So, fun story. I was just a fan of Hunter, man. Like, Hunter is a phenomenal musician if people don't know.
It's kind of like a country John Mayer, kind of.
Next level.
Right.
Like, the next level up.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I was a fan of his. And one day, we were doing I was playing with Little Big Town, and we were doing awards, and he was kind of doing they have if you go to Vegas, I think the AMAs used to be there or something like that.
Yeah.
But he was doing a side show, and he only brought in his MD, and it was a house band.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna go over there and watch Hunter. So I'm watching him rehearse, and I'm like, man, this is not his vibe. And he looked at me, and I had met him before. And I was just joking. I'm like, bro, I know all your songs. He's like, what? You want to play? He's like, because this is so bad. Dude, in the middle of getting ready for Little Big Town on playing live TV, I went to my hotel and just he gave me what he's gonna play. And we played probably a 60-minute set. Crushed it. He was like, bro, that was phenomenal.
Is this during the Steve Sinatra?
After.
Right after.
Gotcha. Right after. So I started working with him. He would bring me in every once in a while. And I got a call one day from his MD, my buddy Andy Sheridan. He's like, Hubert, Hunter's about to go into the new year, man, and he needs a whole new band. It was right when Steve had left for good. And I was like, dude, well, don't call anybody. I got a band. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, I just started my own band. It's called The Network. We're a funk band, but I think you're going to like these guys. And he's like, well, when can I hear them? And I was like, tomorrow. He's like, all right, where? I'm like, my buddy's garage.
And he showed up.
I called my friends, but got to the band yo, we got to get together tomorrow. We didn't have rehearsal. So he showed up, drove his very nice car in East Nashville, parked in front of the garage. Hunter Hayes sits in the corner. We just played through a couple songs and he said, call me back that night. I want the whole band. Obviously, I'm like, man, Little Big Town is really great for me right now. So he took that band on the road, and I called one of my buddies from Chicago because he's a young drummer. You probably know him now. He's a phenomenal dude named Dez. It's Black Drum Hippie on Instagram.
Black Drum Hippie. Yeah. I follow him.
So when he was younger, I met him in Chicago. He's like, dude, I want to play country music. I'm like, well, you got to join the circus, bro. I got friends in town.
That's branding. Oh, I know the Black Drum Hippie. That's good. That's good branding.
Yeah. So he came and stayed with me for the audition, and I gave him some dude, go play these drums and do it like this. And I did not tell him how to play because he's elite on the drum set. But
The Network. That sounds great. Well, next step is a record for you guys, or a live record.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So we've done Hunter actually because he loves the band. He recorded us. We did a thing at Rudy's, and he recorded a version of it. And he just loves the bands because he ended up touring with those guys for a couple years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, now you're a connector.
Yes.
I mean, you set those guys up for success.
Yes, and
you
now
got them all a job.
Now they all play for the bass player plays with Lauren and Elena Colton.
Oh yeah.
And then the keys player Jonathan plays for Brothers Osborne now.
Yeah.
Those are my buddies.
We had Adam on, Adam Box.
That's my brother. I love that dude.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, that's my spirit animal, man.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta apologize to you. It sounds like we were off to a really, really great start together, and I haven't seen you in years, man.
Oh man.
So I've just been a bad friend, man.
No, it's all good. But I was always watching and gleaning from you, man.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy that you're doing the thing. You got a healthy life, healthy family. You got a rock solid gig celebrating 10 years. You know, you got this side hustle. You got your speaking thing happening. I think the book is next. You write a book, gives you a little bit more credibility. Phone will ring a little bit more. I mean, you're totally credible. Anybody in the world would be happy to have you. But there's something about try to get 5 books under your belt. I'm going to shoot for 5. I mean, heck, I'll shoot for 50. But you know, I got 3 out. Put out another. You know, they say get to 5 if you can. You know, 5 books, and then people can stumble across you. And you're like, oh, published author, Amazon bestseller. Just one more little feather in your cap, and they go, how much do you need? And it just justifies it.
You know what's interesting? I've had this huge defensive posture towards the first book.
Yeah.
But when you said 5, it almost like released me from it. Like, hey, I'm going for 5. The first one's fine.
Hey, look at Grant Cardone. We interviewed Grant Cardone. He said, you know what, man? I didn't want to be paralyzed by this. He says the first book had typos. Just get it out.
He said it's a best-selling book, not a best-written book.
Just get it out, and then just content. Gary V. I was telling Jim the other day, I reposted something for Gary V. I thought it was some cool little quote he had scribbled on a napkin. Hit me back, man, on a DM.
What?
He said, great work. Keep building. You know what I mean? I'm like,
he's so good, man.
I needed that. I needed that kick because sometimes I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be 55 years old. I could live in a 55 and older community. I'm going to be driving around a golf cart. Are my best days behind? You know what I mean? You get this stuff. They're not, man. I've got energy. I've got ideas.
You know what Gary would say to you? Huh? He'd look at you and go, and
he'd just go like, he's like, okay, you've done all this. And
that's right.
And
just keep going.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just keep going. So
remember your purpose.
2025, my purpose statement, real easy. My purpose in life is to affect people in a positive way and change lives. One sentence. Do you have a sentence?
I don't know of a sentence, but
But what about a couple sentences?
I'll say this, and I wish it's very simple. I want to be Christ-like.
Well, that's better than mine.
It's the highest. It's the highest form of high performance. I don't know if it's the Holy. Well, it probably is the Holy Spirit. But when I look at how Christ moved, that is the highest form of high performance. That's Jordan. That's Kobe.
That's That's
LeBron. That's LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, his principles, the way that he moved, the grace, his convictions, and I think for me, like going back into the Word and being like, I don't want to have a perception of what I was told about it. I want to, be breathed on every day, and in a new season about what I'm experiencing from the Word. Like that will guide me on who I should be helping and how do I organize my skill set and how do I divide time between pouring into my babies and keeping my wife on board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's too complex for me to create a mission that does it all because it's impossible. It's impossible. And I think that sounds crazy to think that impossible is a hopeful thing, but it is because I know I'm not alone. Like I got great friends, great mentors, amazing people who I look up to that I might not talk to them every day, but I glean from them, right? Like yourself. So
there's something very powerful in, and Jim can attest to this, just the idea of like, just release it to God. You know what I mean? Just dude,
lay it at the foot of the cross.
Just like it's good to know. The overachiever in me feels like that's too easy. It sounds like work. It's got to be hard. It's got to be sweaty. It's got to be the sweat of your brow and 23-hour days, and maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, Like I do want to share this because I woke my wife up at like 4:30 in the morning the other day.
So, hey,
and I thought about this. I was like, babe, because we were playing spades. It's a real African American family game, but my wife is not. But she was playing like over Thanksgiving, and we were playing. So spades is like a partner game. It's 2-on-2, and you're playing, and it's super fun card game. And I was like, babe, what you don't realize is, okay, I have 13 cards. You're my partner. Your cards are my cards. I just can't see them. And I was like, babe, we all have a hand that we're dealt. And we have other people in our lives that have the other cards. But we got to be open to hearing from them, being able to delegate and being able to trust other people with our secret parts, being able to look up to people without the ego being in the way. Right.
Trust people with our secret parts. Oh my God, dude. I hope you're right. You wrote this all down. It's going in your speech. I hope you wrote all this down.
I just thought about that, but that's
what an engaging headline.
Yeah.
Wow. Jim, ask your question.
So you have to make a decision for the rest of your life to play in a tribute band. And that's all you can do. There's nothing else.
It's too easy. This is too easy.
I love it.
What tribute band is it going to be for?
Dave Matthews Band.
Oh my God.
I'm the biggest Dave Matthews Band
biggest
fan.
Carter.
We need to get Carter on, man.
Carter is
ambidextrous and rocking.
Carter, because I went to boarding school and I was just trying to make friends one night, my freshman year, and I walked into this guy. He was from Ohio, and I walked into his room, and he had a stack of CDs at the time. And I had my little CD player, and I was just trying to make friends. I'm like, hey, man, what's this when it says band? I just figured that it was live. Yeah. It was Dave Matthews Band live at Red Rocks.
Wow.
Man, I put that CD in, and in the way, yeah.
And then the huertas on the cymbal and the tom and the snare at the end of that song.
The way it sounded, and it was a blessing for me because that's what kept my fire going from 14 to 18 when it was all about football and there was no music. I got under the table and drumming, and I had the Carter DVD.
My gosh. Did you wear the skin tight scuba gear and stuff like that? Like
I couldn't pull that off, but
he was like,
Were you the Kangol guy? Did he have the hat?
At a point, he had the Jerry curl. He kind of looked just like Dennis Chambers.
Yes,
pretty much. Yeah.
He basically at the one point he would wear hockey jerseys.
Yes,
and I did that for a while when I played. Because he did it. So
yeah.
Those are not flattering though.
No, not at all. Courtney couldn't stand me wearing those.
Hey, we're gonna do the fave 5. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. So many red drums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Porsche red, candy apple reds, red Porsche. Sparkle. Porsche. Favorite food or dish?
Oh, peach cobbler. My grandmother used to make it
with Cool Whip or no?
No Cool Whip. Never had that.
Naked.
Yeah, just naked. All kinds of crust and peaches.
And then with milk or coffee or
ice cream?
Milk would be good. I never thought about that.
Vanilla ice cream?
That just evoked something in me when you said
it. I haven't tasted cow milk in so long. I'm so lactose.
It's rare for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's favorite drink.
Favorite drink. I like Powerade and Gatorade.
Yeah,
it makes me feel like I'm doing something important.
not the zero.
The zero is probably more healthy, but no.
Too many chemicals. Yeah. What's your favorite song at the moment?
Ooh,
or of all time?
Ghost Note has a song called Revival.
I saw those guys at PAS 2 years ago. They did a concert at the Percussive Art Society, and all these, marimba players and timpanists from around the world dancing their brains out to Ghost Note.
Yeah. Crazy. Robert Spud Seawright.
Yeah, Spud
is a hero.
Yeah.
His grind, the way that he's reinvented himself and all right, I'm the funk guy now.
Yeah.
He's very ambidextrous, but he's super funky. And it's a song called Revival. On there, it's like maybe track 7 or something on the last.
I have to check that out.
Record, but the tempo is really, and Travis Toy from Rascal Flatts is playing on it, solos on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's great.
It's nuts.
I
But
love
Revival
Travis.
Island. Yeah.
One time, Travis filled in on bass when we were opening up for the Rascal Flats because Tully had to go have a baby, And he jumped up and played some bass with us. Crazy.
That guy.
We were only playing 4 songs. Favorite movie of all time or
Program.
at the moment?
The Program.
Oh, I saw it. I was trolling your Facebook page. I went all the way down. I was like, what else can I learn about Hubert? James Caan.
Yes.
He's the coach, right?
Yes.
So Jim, have you seen this movie? I've never seen this movie.
I have not seen it.
The Program.
It's a cult classic. And what's interesting is like with today's NIL era, like that movie is so important. So important.
In today's what culture?
NIL. So now college athletes can be paid legally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's about time.
Yeah. And I'm working in that space right now. But that movie was about before it was legal and how to build a program under the table where the boosters were paying guys and
buying them cars
and the kind of culture that creates and the dynamics of college football and the freshmen that's coming in.
It's an older movie, right? 70s?
Really old.
80s?
80, maybe early 90s actually.
So is it a thing you watch over and over? Like
and over.
We'll watch, like I'll watch Alien over and over or Shawshank Redemption or what's the one for you, buddy?
Oh gosh, there's so many of them.
I like Shawshank too.
Yeah, Shawshank. We watched that not too long ago, but I mean, for me, it's any of the Marvel stuff. But
he's a big Marvel guy.
Yeah, I also like Count of Monte Cristo. That story is just like
I like a good Monte Cristo sandwich.
Cigar.
A good Monte Cristo cigar. Man, we could talk all day, but I know you got a headlining show to play tonight.
Yeah.
You got to push into Nashville. You got to find, I'm sure they got some parking set aside for you. This way, Mr. Payne.
I'm a Broadway veteran.
Right there at Bonham.
No, I'm a Broadway veteran. I know where to park.
You know all the sweet spots.
I know the sweet spots.
The sweet spots. So, it's so nice to spend this time with you, and I am very happy for you and very
I appreciate
proud
that.
Of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be me without you.
I mean, I'd love to just be a part of your story, man.
Yeah.
And people can hire you. You're on Ear Gigs, right? Eargigs.com?
I'm on Air Gigs now. And reach out to me, man. Hubert Payne, Instagram. If you're dealing with things, want somebody to talk to, I'm a coach.
That's the best way to get to you. It's just me. At Hubert Payne on Instagram.
Yeah, Payne.
You guys heard it here first. Jim, we're batching, man. I had so much fun.
Thank you.
Now we get to go to your company party.
Yeah, we're going to hang out and have some food.
Have some eggnog.
Yeah.
Oh, eggnog.
All the stuff.
I don't know if we have eggnog, but we might have hot chocolate. But
something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we're getting into it.
But Hubert, you're welcome to stick around as long as you like.
So I appreciate you guys having me. This is an honor.
So great.
Like,
sorry it's so noisy.
Oh, man, I can't hear it. It's fine. It's all good.
Thanks again, brother. And to all the listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in, supporting us all these years. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review. It helps people find the show. We'll be here. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Hubert.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jim. See you guys.
This has been The Rich Redmond Show. Subscribe, rate, and follow along at richredmond.com/podcasts.